Hello everybody, this is our 10.1 video on water, hydrogen bonding, and polarity. In this video, we're going to discuss the different properties of water that make water so unique. And then we're going to talk about hydrogen bonding, which relates to all the different chemical and physical properties that make up water. Let's first start by talking about water. We know that water is essential to life. If you didn't know, humans are actually made up of 60 to 70% of just water. A lot of different organisms also need water in order to survive. Even animals and bacteria are made up of mostly water. So why is water so essential to life? The reason for this is because of the different chemical properties that make up water. So not only is water very common in the bodies of organisms, but it also has some very unusual chemical properties that make it very good at supporting life. So we're going to discuss these chemical properties of water and talk about why water is so essential to life. In order to answer this question, what chemical properties make water so unique, we need to first take a look at the Lewis structure of water. So we know water is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. When you draw the Lewis structure of water, you're going to see that it looks like this structure over here. The hydrogen bonds are pushed downwards because of the structure of oxygen and the lone pairs here. These lone pairs are pushing these bonds of hydrogens down, causing the overall structure of a water molecule to be called bent. So we know water is very unique because of its chemical properties. So what we need to look at now is each individual atom inside of the structure of water. So I want you to recall electronegativity. So if you remember, electronegativity is the tendency of an atom to attract electrons to itself when in a chemical bond. So these are the values of electronegativity. When we're taking a look at these values and looking at the structure of water, we can see that oxygen has a very high electronegativity and hydrogen has a very low electronegativity. This electronegativity has much to do with the different properties of water. So because oxygen has a very high electronegativity, what's going to happen is it has a tendency to attract electrons to itself. Essentially, it wants to hog all the electrons and pull them away from hydrogen. Because oxygen is trying to pull and hog the electrons, it overall is going to have a partial negative charge. These partial charges are because of the unequal sharing between these bonds. Oxygen now is going to try to hog the electrons, causing it to have a partial negative charge, and because hydrogen is trying to keep the electrons but oxygen is pulling them away, each of these hydrogen atoms are going to have a partial positive charge. And if you remember, we talked about how whenever there is unequal sharing of electrons between bonds or in an overall molecule, the molecule is considered polar. So therefore, a water molecule is going to be a polar molecule. Because water is considered a polar molecule, that is one of the many reasons why water is so unique. Whenever you have water, you never just have one molecule of water. There usually is many molecules of water surrounding it. So we said that a water molecule has partial charges. So oxygen has a partial negative charge while hydrogen has a partial positive charge. Whenever you have another water molecule next to a water molecule, you're going to see that the partial charges are going to attract each other, kind of like a magnet. The negative side is going to attract the positive side, causing some sort of attraction between the water molecules. You're going to see that happens between many of the water molecules. This attractiveness towards the opposite ends of the charges of the water molecules is called a hydrogen bond. So water molecules are actually attracted to each other, creating these bonds which are called hydrogen bonds. And hydrogen bonds are the main reason why water is so unique. Alright, these hydrogen bonds, they actually determine almost every chemical and physical property of water. So, when water molecules are next to other water molecules, the opposite ends are going to attract each other, causing a hydrogen bond. Now we know that these hydrogen bonds cause our different physical and chemical properties of water. So let's talk about some of these chemical and physical properties of water. Because hydrogen bonds are the main reason why water is so unique, we can say that some physical and chemical properties are that water has a very high boiling point, it has a very high specific heat, it has a high heat of vaporization, a very low vapor pressure, and lastly, water has a very high surface tension. And all of these are due to the hydrogen bonds between the water molecules. And that concludes our video for today. Thank you for watching.